pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 Hey, yeah. I am light. I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. All light. All light. Yeah. All light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Yeah. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Father's Day and our Rebirth Sunday and our Paradigm Shift 48. How about that? This Sunday. Wow. This is LaTonia Taylor, for those of you who are here for the first time. The Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, and Passion are some of the names that I go by. But call me almost anything, but just don't call me broke, victim, discouraged, or something else that does not align with my holiness or your holiness, because I am just your reflection. In my sister's eyes, I can see myself, even when I don't like what's reflected back in me sometimes. So I just give thanks that a lot of times what motivates me is that no woman is really free until all of us are free. And so in this space today, I won't hold you long because some of you may be out, celebrating or preparing to do something around this time. Others of you may not even be present. Some people absolutely dial out of this celebration for various reasons. Sometimes it's a trigger because of not having, and sometimes it's a trigger for those who have had. And it also can be an opportunity for you to shift, once again, to shift the narrative, whatever the narrative may be. I come before you telling you that, today, and it just kind of lined up like this, but this is definitely a topic from my heart, both topics, because there was a time in my life where I felt like a motherless and a fatherless child. Yep. If you can relate, just let me know on the other side. And so the mother wound was just as prevalent for me as the father wound, but the father wound was something that I just happened to deal with first. And so Father's Day did become a celebration and is a celebration now for me because I've shifted the narrative, and you can shift the narrative. And I had to shift the narrative from why wasn't he there, why he didn't love me, or why he didn't do this, or why he didn't do that, to the point of understanding that I am his gift. Today in this season, even as my Father's presence has been coming up a lot in me teaching Paradigm Shift 48, especially this week after the Wednesday Live. If you get a chance, those of you who are interested in the personal development side of Daddy being a love story, even if it was a horror story for you, go and check out the live I did on Wednesday in Rebirth Woman. Today will be, even though we're looking at fathers and daughters, our prayers will be for fathers and daughters. This is our Sunday morning, and so we go in a little bit deeper. So it will be a universal understanding of a few more things when we talk about fathers, just to show you how we have the opportunity to release narratives and raise them above the physical. So, for instance, mother, when you look at it in the metaphysical, mother is a woman, so therefore she represents the feminine energy, the feminine power, the yin energy. But mother also is represented by, any time we talk about the Holy Spirit in Scripture or in religious context, we are also talking about Holy Spirit. When Father is talked about in terms of Scripture and reference in holy text, Father represents the conscious mind. So the Father energy, even when you say in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, you're talking about your conscious mind. And of course, some relate Father to Jehovah Jireh, my provider, Jehovah Rohi, So, and if you really know the meaning of Jehovah, you even start to use even that. You let go of even that reference when you study what the meaning of Jehovah is. And, the way that I am as a teacher, sometimes I intend to prick your consciousness, and those who are seekers will come and ask questions or bring, their curiosity to their own growth and development. So sometimes you'll hear certain things that are new for you, but that doesn't mean that it's not valid just because you don't know about it. What it means is to study and show thyself approved is the process of you validating yourself, retraining your brain to go beyond the references. I do have a quick reading for you today, and this is one of the places that I began to continue my shift. I haven't read an author. I actually met this author before I became an author, and met her, and she's a quiet soul in Washington, D.C., actually doesn't make much noise except through her pen, and she's a powerful, heavy hitter of a writer. I can only hope that I will grow into be this type of writer as I continue to write. But this is Whatever Happened to Daddy's Little Girl, Janetta Rose Barras. We have a very similar background with the Mississippi, Louisiana connection, and a few other things in the South. But check this out, summing up a little bit of just a snapshot that I can relate to in my life. She says, I tossed my anger at my mother, demonstrating a flippancy and total disregard for her authority. When I was 15, I ran away from home, staying with friends for over 3 days, and then daring my mother to react to my reappearance. She had taken Noel, that was a father figure, away, and now I was old enough to let her know, however impulsively, how I felt after her theft. The generic anger towards my mother and men in general wreaked havoc on my romantic relationships. The slightest provocation not only sent me running, struck by the triple fear but also prompted me before I left to slam a bushel of profanities and insults into the head of my mate. Sometimes, even when there wasn't any instigation of my rage, I somehow resorted to this behavior, using it as an effective weapon to keep anyone from getting close. Too close. Close was dangerous. For some, the only way to keep a safe distance from loving relationships is to adopt an angry, confrontational demeanor. If one is sufficiently prickly and hostile, one can be assured that no suitor will get close enough and no loss will ever occur, according to psychologist Maxine Harris. Audrey Chapman, another psychologist and talk show host in D.C., for those of you who are listening, anger is much a defense as the super achiever mode is a defense. Anger is as much a defense as super achiever mode is a defense. The fatherless daughter is saying, I don't need you. I don't need anybody. I never wanted to need you, and I don't care if you don't ever come back. A fatherless daughter gets involved with men she can fight and argue with and act out some of her anger and that she's feeling about men in general. In this case, it's like all men become an enemy, or she wants to parent all of them, continues Audrey Chapman, citing as an example of a woman she saw in her first practice in 1999. She said that a woman's boyfriend couldn't pay her bills, so she assumed the responsibility for them. Then he almost lost his townhouse, so she began to make loan payments for that. And she knew that there was father stuff in there. In the case of her client, she said there doesn't seem to be a problem because the man then assumes the role the client would have assumed as daughter. The client becomes the father she wished she had, but it's dysfunctional. At some point, she's going to get tired of it because he's continuing to be dependent. So sometimes I read this piece in particular because it's cool to do these affirmations. It's cool for us to recognize on the first level that we need to change our mindset. But when I say your life is giving you feedback, sometimes it sounds like an excerpt that I was just reading. And here's back to what a writer, Janetta Rose Barras, says is, she says that the fatherless woman syndrome is a desire for control. The fatherless daughter must be the decision maker. I'm talking to you wives who have husbands too, because some of you are controlling the purse, you're controlling a lot of things. And women, we know that you get tired, but sometimes you would rather be tired than lose control. So this is me talking. Now let me talk in the voice of Janetta. She says she has to believe that she is causing things to happen. They are not happening to her. She will determine when a relationship ends. She will determine when to drop her membership from the group. You know how sometimes y'all can't stay present? A lot of times it's still these unmet needs, these unhealed wounds. She will determine if she comes late or skips a meeting. Early in life, too many other people had control over her life, and look at what happened. So she carries invisible yet painful scars. Therefore, it's not unusual to see the fatherless girl as a control freak. One minute, the fatherless girl seems harmless. The next, she's ready to carve out someone's heart. In the mind of the victim, the response exceeds whatever infraction there might have been. In the mind of the fatherless daughter, she has already cast the offender as her father. She will make sure that she never hurts again. She whips him to near death with her rage and anger, or uses her hostility to construct an impenetrable, cold steel like wall. Listen, this is why you will always come into this space with me, and you will always be provoked to rebirth and emerge transformed. You will always be provoked to move beyond the conversation because you can. And even if you feel guilty about it, you can still heal guilt. Shame and guilt will keep you stuck if you let it. But when you can get through shame and guilt of any of your choices and decisions, no matter how they showed up in love and matters of the heart, you can get to this place that I find myself in, where I truly can say that I am my Father's gift. Today, I feel so good to be able to say I am my Father's gift. I don't care if it is a man listening on the phone today. I'm not just talking to my sisters, but I am emphasizing my sisters, because we are the mothers, we are the womb, we are the creators, we are the co-creators. And so we are the first teachers of all men. All men have come through a womb. And so that's why the mother womb is so weighted. And truth be told, the father womb can go undetected because we get busy with our lives. The mother womb walks with you, talks with you, lays down with you, because it is the identity that you've taken on. The father womb is the activity that you have taken on, but just like also the praise of the Father. Because on the other side of healing for me, which I wrote about in Daddy's Little Girl, Still Daddy's Little Girl, man, I'm telling you that the other side of that, other side of the experience for me is what brings up the most emotions about my father. See, I used to cry about what he didn't do and why he didn't do it the way that I felt I needed it in my heart. But on this other side, I've got a chance really to be able to laugh with my father. Let me give you an example. Just on Father's Day, I just got to share this. My dad had this wavy hair, kind of like my husband. And my father was not that affectionate. I want to also paint a picture of not just the wound, but of the healing. Because when I started to fill my cup directly from the cosmic Father, from the meaning my conscious mind, and from the cosmic Mother, meaning that Holy Spirit presence, the divine feminine, I didn't go to him needing anything. I didn't go to him expecting him to fill my cup. I came with a full cup, kind of like what we need to do in relationships. And so my father, I can see it, I can visualize it. I want you to close your eyes and just, even whether your father is living or not, and even if you never met your father, I want you to get an image of fathering that brings you joy into your mind's eyes this morning. I'm going to do that as well with you. I'm going to share mine out loud, and I'll invite you on the other side to share yours if you choose. I used to like to go see my father, and he would swing his leg on the chair. There was a certain way he sat in his recliner, right? And I don't know, I got up to go talk to him. And I had a little girl fear, of my dad, because he was so stern and sometimes just so, aloof. Well, it's the two favorite memories, so I'm going to tell you this. So I just started rubbing his hair. And even as I say these words to you, I can feel the texture of his curls, the mixture of his curls and his waves on my fingertips. And in some way, in those moments, I was being satisfied because I was giving love to him because I knew I was the gift. But there was also something happening for him. But I know my dad because I started to know his story. He couldn't necessarily say it, but he didn't refuse it. Another fond memory is, and this is something you may want to create for your children if you're co-parenting. When my father would come by on the days that he had to drop his check off, the child support check. We didn't have direct deposits and all that stuff back then. So he'd ring the doorbell. And it seemed like when Daddy rang the doorbell, that doorbell had a musical sound that was just so different. Early in the morning, because my daddy went to work before day in the morning. And my mother had to go to work, so that's why I was up early. But I go to the door, and I don't remember if he gave me the check or not. That just didn't even matter. But it was his kiss on the side of my cheek, and his aftershave lotion. A little prickly and a little smooth, but it was the lotion. So whatever that smell was, I think it was Old Spice. And my dad left that, and I didn't want to really wash my face that day because I wanted to smell him. I wanted to be close to him. And to this day, I love a man that smells good. You see, you think that these little things have not affected your psychology and how you show up and your spirituality. This is why some of us have had unhealthy addictions to God and church, because oftentimes people don't know to go to therapy or go get a coach or counselor, go experience a rites of passage, because we stopped doing the things that kept us whole and transitioned us and allowed the community to love off of us. See, fatherlessness now is given a whole lot of weight, but the truth of the matter is, in our societies, even when we were high functioning, there was a time where you didn't know when a father went out on a mission, whether it was hunting or negotiations or kings that went to meet with kings because of the nature or environment. You didn't know, if one was going to come back home. And it doesn't matter now what it is that is the casualty that's causing the casualty in our families' experiences. The fact is now that it's there, but it's the spin, the narratives that are spun over and over again. And so today I just invite you, as we end the week of looking at the parents, the father and the mother, and as we get ready to go into paradigm shift, week, I should say, starting on Monday, we start to look at other relationships and other mindsets that need our attention. This is foundational. And so today, I just celebrate you. And I just want to encourage you from the mental diet again. And I'm not going to go into all of this, but to stop being afraid, because control is really a cover-up for fear. It's a cover-up for being limited, but then claiming victim about why you don't know you're experiencing limitation. That could be showing up in your business, procrastination, unfinished projects, and certainly in relationships. So much I could say about this. And I did say this on Wednesday, and I will say this again. I for small workshops in our tribe, if I say to you, let me know you're interested in doing some work around this, I want you to respond to me. Send me an inbox, let me know, because I have been getting the feedback, and a lot of you have been touched from this week, and it's stirring stuff up for you. But I never want to open you up and not close you with healing modalities, because, baby, there is a balm in Gilead, and the balm is inside of you. Not a bomb, B-O-M-B, but a balm, B-A-L-M, which is healing medicine. Every woman has a balm inside of her. It's not just the balm of Gilead, but it's the balm of your rebirth. It's the balm of your emerging transform. It's the balm of your femininity, your vulnerability, where you are made strong. And so I just want you to hear the charge to re-educate yourself. No doubt, the same as most people, you have carefully educated yourself in the ability to search out countless things and situations about which to be fearful. Just as you have carefully developed this negative ability, you can re-educate yourself to look for favorable things which you may encounter. In spite of the tendency to always have a morbid approach to life, you can reverse this pattern of thinking and develop a more cheerful outlook. The wisdom in doing this rests in the fact that you always seem to find what you're looking for. Can I say that again? We will find what we are looking for. If you're looking for a husband, you will find somebody else's husband. That's a lot of that, too, that's happening for some of you evolved women. There are a lot of women who are sleeping with men who are in other relationships, but yet you are afraid of the idea of openness. But really, you're practicing open relationships. There are, and so that woman oftentimes can't show up. There are women in our evolved community that are experiencing abuse. It looks like no show, no call, can't sustain being in this energy because of what she has to get off of the phone and go deal with. There are women who are miserable, married, love and appreciate the husband, but he is the only father that their children knows. So they dare not say that, because then their families and the whole world will think that they are ungrateful because girl, you got a good man. But that's not the man that you love. And there are some of you who are craving not only good loving, but to be loved and adored. And so you feel it with work, and you feel it with food, and you feel it with gossip, and you feel it with staying extremely busy. And some of you are so highly educated and evolved that you can sit at a table and declare what your therapist and you worked out is the issue. But you still cannot fully open your heart. And opening your heart will also show up not just in opposite sex relationships. It will show up in your relationship with your sisters, when it will show up in your relationships with any authority. Oh, my God. How dare anyone have any authority over you, because you don't trust authority oftentimes. And when you have been codependent even on the good father, there is a point in time where you must shape your activity to match your own independent expression of yourself as honor to your father, to your good father, to the father who provided, the father who was there, the father who you adore. So we still have a responsibility to evolve the narrative and to continue to grow. So I say to you, if you have your father, give flowers to the living. Even if they were flawed, give your flowers to the living. So guess what? On the other side, you don't have to grieve what you didn't say and what you didn't give. Give your flowers to the living in words, not just flowers for those who get too literal. Honor the people who have helped you, who have parented you, who mothered you, even if they are your peer, because it is a gift that keeps on giving. And there will be a time where you will give that to someone. I posted on my Instagram page a conversation between nephew Tommy and the men that he was working with on Ready to Love. In that moment, you felt Tommy's emotion when he was acknowledging what his father taught him to men who we didn't know those men's backstories, but you could see them being a sponge absorbing. Sometimes that's what we are to each other when, especially those of you who are in the juicy community, the point of being in community is that you're able to come to a safe space of people, of family you've now chosen. See, you don't believe you've chosen, but when you start to do this spiritual work, you learn how we choose the vessels that we come through from our cosmic beingness. But first, you got to tap into and beyond the earthly experiences. Tap into the cosmic beyond the earthly experiences. And so today, the command or the theme of our Paradigm Shift 48 beyond this Rebirth Sunday and this Father's Day is stop being afraid. And the affirmation is, I acknowledge and accept that my life fundamentally is good and that all that appears otherwise does not belong to it. There's nothing I need fear for. The life that flows through me can desire only the best of all possible things for itself. I now accept the responsibility of choosing that which I will experience. I discard fear of whatever nature, and as I release my fears, they cease being creative of adverse experiences. I am no longer afraid, but live in complete confidence that the power that made me and sustains me now makes clear and smooth my way. I eliminate those patterns of thinking which attract to me that which I do not want, and focus my attention on the good things I desire. I start living in faith, and a faith that is productive of a richer, more joyous life. I live with a sense of security that the right thing is always done in the right way, at the right time, for the greatest expression and experience of the spirit of life that resides in the center of my being. My faith is no longer placed in what I do not desire, but only in the good of which I wish to partake. I permit God's creativeness to flow through me to establish a new life of happiness. All possible good comes from God and is mine to accept. I do accept it now. And so that is our affirmation for today, to focus in. And so today I want to do something a little different, because typically at this time on Paradigm Shift 48, we would go right into the prayer, but this is Rebirth Sunday, and so this is an opportunity for this moment. Any moment can be the moment for you to rebirth. And so I'm offering you the moment to declare your rebirth any way that you desire, in the form of a prayer request. That will require you to be transparent about what it is that you desire to be supported in, or on behalf of someone else. You can, any moment can be the moment for you to declare and share a memory, because that memory may speak into the hearts of others who are listening. Any moment can be the moment for you to declare and decree what it is that you are willing to unlearn, and begin to re-educate yourself on whatever fear that you're releasing, in the way that it will open your heart. All the lines are open right now. And so I would like to start. I'm going to request that I start from someone I don't normally hear from. And then all of you who are always ready, spilling over. And you know who I'm talking about, because you get a little nervous. You get a little frog in your throat, because you don't typically like speaking, because you're worried about whether you need to say the right thing or how you say it. And that's the rebirth moment. That's the moment that any moment can be the moment to stop giving a bluck. You know what I'm saying? You can put the syllable right where it needs to be. That's the moment where you get to say, I'm reprogramming my now, because I'm going to step out and do a new thing. So who is that person that I'm talking to today, to just, open up the space? The lines are now unmuted. Who don't I normally hear from? Jeopardy music. Let me cue the Jeopardy music. That means that sisters are stepping to the side who got something to say, waiting to hear from you. Y'all know if we were in a workshop space online or otherwise, I would fishbowl you and call your name. But that's the codependent way. This is the way to program your reality. So who am I talking to? Who am I ministering to? Because there's a lot of y'all on this line this morning. And so I know I'm not just talking to myself. Who don't I normally hear from? Don't miss this window. It's not about me. So everybody on the line, I normally hear from you. What if I told you this would be the last time that I'm going to ever do this prayer call because of you, those of you who come on week after week after week and do this? What if I told you I'm going to stop? Would that would allow you to put some skin in the game? 504-908. Would that allow you to put some skin in the game? 610-762.
Hey, LaTonia.
Would that be the okay? Hey,
Reverend
hey,
LaTonia Taylor. This is your
hey.
friend in New Orleans.
My friend, not my sister, my cousin to another mother.
Yes. I knew you would call me out. It's been a while. I mean, I usually speak up whenever I call. I know it's Tanya. I know you didn't. I know. Hey. You know what jumped in my spirit? The need to control my relationships, just to control my whole reality instead of allowing myself to go with the flow. My father was present in the household, but he wasn't present because my mother was the one who led everything. So he was just there, but he also made a contribution and showed me how to choose men who were unavailable. And it taught me a lot, and it's still teaching me lessons not to hold on so tight to men in my life and to allow myself to experience men from a place of freedom instead of a place of codependency or neediness. And I just know that there are layers to it, and I know I'm speaking in general right now because it's a call and there are other ladies who want to speak after me, but I'm still working on this. And just my whole attachment to men and the fathering that I still crave and the attention I still crave from a man. I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52. It doesn't matter the age. It's just that energy of loving and wanting to be loved and adored by a man. And I have it's like multiple. I'm getting into that paradigm where I have to let go of having this solitary one person in my life and experience the male energy or the father from multiple perspectives and not become attached or sunk into them or make them mine. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, you absolutely articulated and represent many women. You always do. Your voice, your transparency always represents many women, and I appreciate that about you. And welcome home. I always say that to you whenever you show up. Welcome home. This is always a home base where you home. Thank you.
But I do have a prayer request. I do have a prayer request, though. So my prayer request is my brother, who is a patriarch of the Freeman family, although he changed his name 30 years ago to Dawood El-Amin. He's a practicing Muslim. He's going through a health challenge right now of cancer, and it reemerged. And the doctors are saying that they can only give him palliative care. There's no cure, and I know all about that going through my own experience, that may not be true. So I'm asking, and he has been that brother, father figure to me, and it's been a blessing to see him in the house for 2 weeks because I see a difference in him in terms of him being very calm and peaceful. And when I look at him, I had healings this week or the last couple of weeks he's been here because it felt like my father was in the house. It was so eerie. I looked in his space one day and I saw my dad. He's just a lighter version of him. But I saw my father, and because I've been doing the ancestral work, and because there's a healing presence for me, there's a balm for me inside of me, in my DNA, that my father has given me that I can heal. He's on the other side of the veil. He's in the ancestral realm, but I see my brother transitioning, going through a health challenge, and I see my father, and I see the humility, and I see the easygoingness, and it's just my dad all over again. So please just remember Dawood in your prayers for his complete healing and whatever that may look like, and that we will accept whatever the divine will is and his destiny is for his life.
Sure thing. Thank you so much. So much. All right.
I love you.
I love you. Anyone else?
And all the sisters.
Anyone else have something to share? It's wide open to everyone now. Just any prayer request, memory, fond memory that you can bring, or what you're releasing on this day and to shift your own paradigm.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Something that stood out for me when you were speaking was the running away. You talked about running away. And running away, I don't know if you were reading from the book or whatever. She was sharing running away at 15 and taking her anger out on her mom for her dad not being there. And I was like, wow, I have been running since I was 8 years old. I remember I was 8 the first time I ran away, and it got to a pattern where I ran away every summer. When school was out, I would run away, not just for 3 days. I would run away for the entire summer and then walk back home and practically dare my mom to have an attitude, to have something to say about me being gone. And I mean, it was just like known. When school was over with in the summer, I would leave for the whole summer and stay. I had a girlfriend, lived across town, but I was angry with her because, my father wasn't there, and she, replaced him with a man that used to beat her. And I had to watch that, and then be told that I was the reason that she stayed in that relationship so that she could put food on the table and feed me and clothe me and all of this. And that, contributed to my running because I was like, well, I don't want to be the reason why you getting your butt beat, every day and every night. And I realized, I created so many different personalities to be able to survive that, because when she sent me to my dad, my real father, he beat me. And I was just angry when I came back. I was just so angry that the only way I knew how to survive and to keep people from hurting me was I created all these different characters, all these different sides of myself to deal with whatever situation or circumstance I found myself in and I didn't know how. I created a personality for it, and I lived that way for so long, LaTonia. Oh, my God, it was so heavy and hard. And I was laying here the other day, and I was just in such peace. And I was just looking back and thinking, on my first experience with you to now, and just looking at how I've softened, I'm just softened. I don't have to be, this nasty, what is the word? The aggressive tyrant anymore. I can show my real self and just be okay with the softer versions of me, and I'm loving it. But I'm also really seeing and understanding more the dynamic with the masculine energy, that energy, the relationship that I have with my own masculine energy is abnormal. It's not right. I can see how it shows up in my. I have to really war with myself to make myself get up and do things for my own self. Like I've set a launch date for something, and I have to fight with myself to get up and do the things that I need to do, and I know that that's part of my relationship with masculine energy. So I do have a prayer request this morning that you guys hold space for me, that I be able to. I don't even know really what to ask for, whether it's to learn to be and allow, or to rebirth, or come into a new relationship with my masculine side, because the only masculine energy I think that I've ever reflected was what I thought I needed to be safe and to keep people from hurting me. I need that. I need that now. I do. I'm ready.
So the prayer request could be, Holy Spirit, help me to study war no more. The prayer request could be, peace be still. The meditation could be the meditation that I offered at the very beginning, and maybe we could do that again on, let me see, do we have enough time today? Maybe tomorrow. But peace, peace be still. Peace be still.
Ashe.
Ashe.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. You're so eloquent in being able to articulate, where you've come from, and where you're still working. And let me say to all of you, be not weary in well-doing for yourself. Be not weary in well-doing for matters of your own heart. Be not weary in well-doing for the vision, because the word says he, which is not about a God that is masculine, but even though we use that term, so let's just say holy I am, which is the I am presence in you that has begun a good work in you, shall complete it. You don't worry about the middle part. Know that you're working towards the completion of your work, which is the day you take your last breath. So the best can be the yet to come today. Right now, the best is yet. I know I get impatient with myself. My impatience with myself comes from sometimes measuring myself. And what am I measuring myself against? So sometimes the work that we get to do helps us to refine the prayers and the prayer requests that we make. Because the more specific we are, we're not telling God what to do. We're programming our subconscious mind so that it will tell our conscious mind what to do. Ain't God grand?
Yes.
And God in us. Anyone else?
Good grand rising. This is Tommy. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I just want to say that as I study myself every day, one thing that I see is that I am learning how to be friends with men, as opposed to falling in love with everyone that I meet. And it's just so beautiful, because in becoming friends with all of these people, I'm learning more about a man's perspective. the things that they do, the way they perceive life, the way they perceive me. And moving into that realm, I even reached back to some old relationships, and I realized that when Tommy is done with a relationship, she's really done. But nevertheless, that I can still be friends with these people. And it's really just opened up like a whole new world for me, because I have all of these male friends that I can talk to at will. And I was listening to a talk yesterday, LaTonia, that you had given, and you had mentioned something about, I don't know the exact words, but you had mentioned something to the effect that your manifestation may not come from the object of your affection, something to that effect. And I said, wow, that is so beautiful and it's so true. And so I just want to give a praise report that I'm learning to be friends with men, and it's just opened up a whole new world for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. Is there anyone just spilling over, especially some of you juicy ones, spilling over? Anyone want to celebrate verbally? Get a little practice here so you can do it at home. What about the man that's been there, the man that you can count on, the man that's been your teacher? Let's acknowledge them in this space today. Anyone have a husband experience that they want to celebrate and acknowledge? Because I can definitely feel it. I thank God. I speak his name into this space. Even as we get ready to go into prayer, specialized prayer, we're going to pray for our hearts and also the men in our lives. But I'm going to speak into the space. One of the premier teachers in my life, who's on the other side now, and his name is Master Coach Ron Davis. But if you know anything about him, he liked to be known as Ron M.F. Davis. Emphasis on the MF. He was really comfortable with himself, and I speak his name into this space this morning, because he's definitely coming up. Anyone else? If we don't have men that we can celebrate and give verbal thanks and praise to, I guarantee you it's going to affect you being able to celebrate and give thanks and praise to the living beings that you have in your experience. So we're going to go on and transition. I hope that's not a sad statement, because somebody could listen back to this and benefit. Sometimes brothers do listen, and you can feed the soul of the man that is doing his work. Because men who are doing their work like you are is the new sexy. It's the new thing. But I'm telling you, when a man starts to do his work, you're not going to find him in normal, everyday places. Or y'all not going to find each other in normal, everyday places where you're looking. And not only that, if you're not doing your work, you won't even know what a man who's doing his work looks like. You won't know it because it's a certain sound. You won't hear it. It's a certain thing that he says. It's a certain way he handles his business, and you won't know it, because if you still out here trapping, using the kids' terms, you still out here trapping, you will not see it. If you're still out here rating your manhood experience from the womb and not from the wealth of your femininity, the space will continue to be silent like this, because it's not a statement that I know there are people on the call who can do it, but the fact that you won't do it, I'm telling y'all, sisters, that speaks more about you than me. Because when y'all go to church, Don't nobody ask you to come. They don't even do testimony services like that no more in church. So that says more about where you are and not to shame you, but just to make you uncomfortable enough to know that you can't keep doing it that way. There's a give and take that's called abundance. It's an exchange. And so sometimes it happens in the metaphysical before it manifests in the physical. And the strongest thing that a woman has is her voice. And trust me, if you out here in these streets using your voice to cuss people out and to post passive aggressive posts on, and when I open the space, not once, twice, 3 times opening these spaces, it speaks to how closed you can be. Whether you're stuck on a position that you are shy, then that's a position, and you will continue to get shy results in your world when your gift is bigger than your shyness. If you are worried about what people are thinking about you, then you won't move forward because you're still worried about what people are thinking about you. And even when you do it, as long as you out here in the world doing your thing and worrying about what people are, your gift is tainted. You're not going to, because you'll be catering to them and not in the authenticity, having your ear attuned to the divine within you. If you are just still waiting to be chosen by somebody else, if I got to pick on you and call on you, you will go out in the world and still wait to be picked, to be chosen. And sometimes you got to interrupt the paradigm and choose yourself. Because the word says, choose ye this day who you will serve. You got to decide if you're going to serve your limitations or you're going to break through. And any moment can be the moment. And yes, I'm speaking into you because that space of stillness cannot live in the place of shifting a paradigm. If you just coming into the space to see what I'm going to say, if you just coming into the space just to, well, I'm just going to chill out.
Yeah.
This space is too powerful for that. Too powerful for that. You can't keep doing that here. So that's good for the month. I don't need to say it. If you heard it, if you were under the sound of my voice and you heard that, then that must have been for you. Because I won't do it. I promise I'm going to discipline myself. I won't do it again until I'm going to do it every 30 days. So set your clock. Because if you don't want to hear it again by July 16th, then don't come on the call in 30 days. Because we're shifting paradigms in this joint. And I know some of you have been with me long enough. You know why? Because y'all send me notes. I was on the call on Sunday. Girl, you was talking to me. I was on the call, and I couldn't say. No, you want, I'm not your side chick. Don't treat me like I'm your side chick. Don't treat me like I'm the one that you creep in the night with. No, you got to be proud of me and wear me on your shoulder, because if I'm the one that's being a spiritual midwife for you, telling you to push, to get in position, so when the baby is crowning, honey, sometimes it's all right to say, because when you got to breathe and when you got to say ouch and that baby's starting to come through, I bet you stop reaching for the covers ain't enough. You got to go and grab somebody's hand. You got to grab somebody's hand. Sometimes somebody got to get behind your back to give you strength so that you can push and take that next breath and that you can move through the contractions of life. And so that's what it is. But sometimes we're so comfortable being comfortable that the paradigm shift is not going to come through magical thinking and fairy dust mentality. If you want to sprinkle some fairy dust, open your mouth.
All right.
The word says in the beginning was the what? Talk to me. In the beginning was the what?
The word.
What's going to happen for your new beginning? What's going to happen?
All right.
I don't know why that came up this morning. Now I'm going to ask again one last time. Grace and mercy. The God of second chances over and over again. Did that happen to land in anybody's lap that didn't say anything? Just curious.
Yeah.
Still got a quiet church.
Hello?
Well, then that's quiet. Oh, did I hear a hello?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've been trying to speak. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I've been trying to speak. I want to celebrate my husband and my dad. I have both of them here by myself today, and I'm so happy. And, it's just like I'm bubbling over with joy because when you told us to close our eyes, I thought of my dad and me being on a motorcycle when I was like 4 years old. My sister was too afraid to get. My dad rode a motorcycle, and my sister, she was too afraid to get on it. But bold me, yes, because I was daddy's little girl, got on that motorcycle, and I thought about that when I closed my eyes. But yes, I'm just feeling bubbling over because I have two wonderful men in my life, and I'm blessed. And it took me 4 marriages to find Mr. Comfortable.
Come on now.
Best friend. Best friend. I mean, I had to say I do 4 times, but that's okay. I got him, and we met each other because I stopped looking for anybody. I said, I'm done with this thing. I don't care. I've learned how to love me. I got into me, and I got into my spirituality, and I just said, the heck with this. I was dating myself. I just enjoyed life, and then he walked in my life.
Yeah.
We met on an elevator.
Come on now. Come on now. Yes.
When I saw him, the Spirit told me, that's your husband. And I was like, But he chased me for 4 years. 4 years. I kept saying, no, I'm not married. No, I'm not doing that again. No. But, he won. And I won. Surprise. And I'm just bubbling over today, I'll tell you, because right now we're having a cookout for the fathers, but right now I got both of them by myself, and I'm just a little spoiled girl, and I feel good about it. I just want to celebrate both my husband and my dad.
Ashe. Thank you so much for sharing and offering that. I'm sure that definitely is a encouragement to someone who is holding their vision. So that being said, let's continue to hold the vision. That's a good segue to hold the vision today, especially for our heart healing, matters of the heart relating to father-daughters, any desires with our men, with our sons, because you're raising a father. If you have a son, you're raising somebody's father. You know that.
Yeah.
So that being said, let us just in our mind's eye take a breath and imagine, see, feel, and imagine the men who are a positive contribution, if not to your world, to the world. See, feel, and imagine those men in this space today. See, feel, and imagine for those who are here. Don't even worry about how many of us are here, but if you can imagine that we're creating a circle around those men that you see in your mind's eye. They're on the inside of the circle. We're on the outside of the circle. And there's another circle outside of us, and those are our ancestors. See, feel, and imagine that as everyone begins to speak the name of their ancestors, include the grandfathers, the uncles, the pop-pops, the play-fathers, the big daddies. Include them into this day of calling forth those names. And just imagine with every name that we call, the circle outside of us is becoming larger and larger. Begin to speak those names. Dennis Taylor Jr.,
Cal Elliott,
Scotty Taylor,
Jackson,
Rogers,
Willie Jr.
Bernard Jackson,
Ashe. Tommy Tankin, Ashe.
Peter
Ashe.
Shaw,
Sarah Bolden,
Norman Brown, Henry Brown,
Don McKay,
Ashe,
Shirley Rice,
Ashe,
Terry Jackson,
Ashe,
Bernice Marshall,
Ashe,
Uncle Mathis,
Ashe, Ron Davis, Charles Anthony Brown, Mother, Father, God, Holy Spirit, all that is. We thank you that we are encamped by a spirit that sometimes we cannot see, but we can feel, that we can hear. And we thank those who can see, those ancestors, those presence that walk with us, that whisper to us, that guide us. Let that guidance come today for every man that we've held in the safe space of the circle of our prayers. Let our prayers be effervescent and travel into the hearts of every man that we have imagined and brought into our mind's eye, especially our sons who are finding their way sometimes without their fathers, sometimes the fathers who are being fathers and still finding their way as men. We thank you for every man that has risen to the occasion to take care of children that were not theirs in biology, but in spirituality they were. We thank you for every man who offers a good word, a note of protection, who pulls over on the side of the road to make sure that a woman who is broken down is okay. For every man that befriends us without wanting anything from us, but is there because they adore women. We praise and give thanks for those men today. We destroy the narrative that there are no good men or that there's too few men. We destroy that narrative knowing that everything that we have desire for, that on the other side, everything we're seeking is seeking us. And so we thank you that our well-made man has been prepared for every good woman that is preparing herself for that well-made man. And so we thank you that our vision, our dreams, our desires of our own heart, and our commitment to our healing is showing up and greeting us with a kiss. We even send thanks and praise for the men that maybe we have broken up with, divorced, or separated from, because at some point they were our choice. And we give thanks for our choices at that time without cursing our own ability to make new choices. We set them free such that they can go free so we can go free without the bitterness and the need to control and latch on to poor experiences. But we call for high-quality experiences in love. We call forth high-quality experiences in relationships. We call forth high-quality experience in our own beingness because we are worthy and they are worthy too. We declare and decree in this space that men are not our enemy. We study more, no more. We call forth every good man that is fighting a good fight in their body in the form of dis-ease. We ask for harmony where there's dis-ease. That wherever the dis-ease is bringing a message, that being will listen to the message of the dis-ease and declare and decree their plan of action to surrender it to the nothingness from which it came. We thank you, Holy Spirit, right here and right now, for even if there is a woman who doesn't know what to pray for, who doesn't know how to intercede, who doesn't know how to show up and to speak over her life, let the demonstration of her sisters mother her in this moment. Let the demonstration of her sisters speak to her right now. And even when my big mama spirit shows up, let the big mama spirit land inside of her spirit, not as an adjutant, but as an encouragement to expand and open her heart and open her mouth. We pray for every woman who has lost her voice in her story. We thank you for that for every woman who is choosing that her story is still unwritten. and that she has the final say over the next chapter. I pray for the next chapter of every woman on this call today, as I pray for my own, that the next chapter will be the best chapter, and the chapter after that will be better than the chapter before, and the chapter after that just keeps on getting juicier, and that we will leave here leave this planet with not with our gifts locked inside of us, that we will be empty, that every gift that we have, that we, rather than judge it, that we will celebrate it and express it, and that our gift will make room for each and every one of us. Let that gift begin in our heart. Let that gift begin in our spirit. Let that gift begin in the way that we speak over our life and into the lives of those we come in contact with today. We thank you for the Father Spirit, the Father God, the Father Consciousness, the Father Energy. And so now we are free into the land to be an active demonstration of a higher Father consciousness rather than the low vibrational one. We let this prayer take on flesh and greet us with grace and mercy. Greet us like a sweet kiss that gives us the refreshing that we matter, our hearts matter, our love matters, and loving matters. And so for this and so much more, we let it be so, and so it is. We are grateful. And so let the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable. Let it not, the words that I've sent forth not return to me void. Let them accomplish that which I have sent them forth to do. And so, beloved, if you're interested in taking on the fix my love life, the matters of the heart, it's a special 6-week journey in private coaching where I don't charge my normal prices. Let me know if you're interested, and I will support you on the journey. I love you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Paradigm Shift 48 continues at 7 a.m. all week starting tomorrow. Love you, child. Have a wonderful day.
Love you. Love you.
Love you, Ashe.